Now, ladies and gentlemen, Healing Our Earth is a community channel. It is a channel for all of us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, this belongs to you. Together, we are united and we will slowly heal our Mother Earth. So make sure, spread the word. Healing Our Earth channel is globally viewed. Spread the word to each and every one on the globe to take advantage of this wonderful channel and to get acquainted with such amazing information and with such amazing line of speakers that we have. Moving on to our next speaker, a gentleman called Mr. Nitin or Nick Palan, MBE. A super gentleman who is behind Healing Our Earth. Absolutely full support from Mr. Palan for this Healing Our Earth community. And he is going to be discussing the business impact that COVID has had. And he's going to share some wonderful secrets. Let me tell you, Mr. Nitin Palan, are you on with us? And just give me a big hello if you are.
Namaste, good morning.
Namaste, Mr. Palan, there you are. So before I hand over to you, Mr. Palan, let me give a little bit of an introduction. Mr. Palan has been in business for a very long time, since a very young age, and his first business was crisps business, quote unquote, Super Crunch in 1978. And moving on from there to running a Lebanese restaurant from 1981 to 1984. Since 1984, he has been operating a tour operator business, running more than 60 buses, coaches in London, and carrying over 1.5 million passengers a year. In the United Kingdom, his company employs over 230 staff. He has had first-hand experience in how COVID-19 impacts business, the employees, and its forward planning. Now, today, he's going to be discussing and sharing with us how he has dealt with the impact and how he believes it will be for the future of the tourism industry in the United Kingdom. It is worthwhile noting that tourism employs the highest number of staff in the United Kingdom, and London is world's 4th largest tourist destination. Mr. Palan is going to share his most valuable business experiences that he has had. But before I hand it over to him, Mr. Palan, you are a super amazing gentleman supporting such number of various causes for the good of humanity and humankind, for Manav Seva, for Seva in general. You know, people like you stay hidden, but people like you are the ones who are the backbone of the society supporting everybody. And on this very special day, for a special person like yourself, happens to be a wonderful birthday for you. So a very happy birthday from the Healing Our Earth team, from myself and the global community who is actually watching this today. So a little note of happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Nitin Bhai. Happy birthday to you. A global namaste and a welcome to you, Mr. Nitin Bhai Palan.
You're very kind. Thank you very much indeed. I think your statement was, I'll share my experience with you. How does one have an experience of dealing with COVID? It came from nowhere. We don't know where it is going. We don't know when it arrived and if it's ever going to go. So it's literally like you are having a walk in Hyde Park and suddenly a bus hits you. And you're totally awake, you're wide awake. You're looking at things around you. There's situations happening around you that you cannot control. And things are beginning to fall apart. And there's nothing you can do. That's COVID. So we were looking at a business that was growing at 10-15% per annum, employing over 220 people. That means it's 220 families that one is effectively looking after. And suddenly, day by day, as the information comes in, as the so-called experience comes in, experience from the political field, the government tells you one thing, the media tells you one thing, WHO organization tells you something else, and you try and build a potential of action one can take so you can salvage the business, salvage the lives of 220 people that depend on you for their livelihood. And there's nothing you can do except pray, because every day is different. So March 21st, if you're looking at a business that was growing again at 20%, if you're looking to employ 40 more staff for this year, and then the government announced close down. Lucky for us, the furlough scheme came in. So the question of making people redundant was not necessary. We put everybody on a furlough scheme, which still continues. It's evolved. In March, we didn't know whether we can be closed for a month, 2 months, whether tourists are going to arrive or not, and if they're going to arrive. Situation as it happens today is, I believe, 57 countries can visit the UK, and we can visit those countries. I don't think that includes India or America, which is, or China for that matter, I think, which are the main tourist producing countries that we have. So where we are today is a large proportion of the staff are on furlough scheme, and we are faced with the challenges to what to do when the furlough scheme actually changes. Whether you make them redundant and to what degree you make them redundant. These are very heartbreaking decisions. Decisions that you never had to make in 34 years because you're simply growing and growing and growing. And suddenly to have to decide to wind back to where we were probably 25 years ago is probably where we might wind up being. Because what we can't predict is when the tourist will come, or will they come. The current vision is, we believe, tourism will return probably in 2021, 2022. We personally think it's 2022 before normality would actually come in, because there are difficulties in dealing with people coming from overseas. How do you give them a bus trip? How do you make sure that the environment that they are enjoying is hygienic, is clean? They won't bring in infection, nor will they take away infection. And the industry is learning new things. How do you have buses that are going to be even more ultra clean? How do you make sure that the air in the buses are cleaner than they used to be before? How will you make sure that a client will wear a face mask and you'll be able to force them to wear a face mask? So we have some very interesting challenges which only time will be able to resolve, and in time we'll have the experience to resolve. So we're going through some very interesting times, Sadiqji.
Absolutely, we are. Very turbulent.
Very, very turbulent times. Government is not very sure about how to react to this too. And it's fascinating that, as you know, from next week, we're all going to get free lunches and free dinners. Up to £10, thanks, Mr. Chancellor. You can have up to £10 in discounts or contribution towards your dining cost. So that definitely will increase the number of people being brave enough to go outside. And that's probably what we need. We need people to go outside and feel the freedom, not to have the fear. But the question is, should they be fearful? The previous speaker, who was extremely wise, gave us a lot of ideas about how to stay healthy. But those type of information is not necessarily being given out by the government. I think what he spoke about was common sense approach to staying healthy. And it's something that we need to share with the community at large. If this is going to be something that's going to stay with us forever, like pneumonia is, like cold is, like flu is, for which, as the doctors will say, there is no medicine, we'll come up hopefully with medicine that will bring down the the danger zone. It might not be as bad as it is now, but will it ever go away? We'll need to learn to live with it. I'm not a doctor. As a businessman, we'll have to find ways of dealing with and making sure our clients remain safe and will want to come back. When are you taking your next holiday, Lalitji?
I am actually waiting for everything to clear up. Locally, I can take a day off or two, but again, once again, being in clinic, it's difficult to take time off, especially after the 3-month closure of our clinic that we had. So it would be a day off, a weekend off, but nothing abroad at the moment.
But I think, how do you say to someone like yourself, and that's 70 million people in Britain, that it's okay to go out? So you've got beaches in Bournemouth that are full up. You've got pubs that are full up. At one extent, the government is saying it's safe, go across and have a good time. And the next thing that you hear is that it's not quite so safe. You should maintain distances. What level of distance do you maintain? 1 meter, 2 meter? And the latest issue from WHO that came out day before yesterday was this stays in the air, especially in closed area. Guess what? Buses are closed area. So every day is a new challenge. I smile, but I smile because that's the only thing one can do. And it's a difficult journey because every decision that you make, it affects the livelihood of, I repeat, a lot of people. We are talking about a small number of people in Golden Tours, but worldwide, I think there's millions and millions and millions of people employed in the industry, from restaurants to theaters, etc. So it is interesting times, difficult times, but like anything else, I think humanity has a habit of meeting challenges, and we'll deal with this for a period of time. Where we are today, we are in a delicate situation, not knowing what to do over the next 3 months. So we'll wait along for the next 30 days and see if when the airlines bring in people, how that affects the industry, whether people will travel and the buses will go to the restaurants. But we need all of you to go out in the restaurants. All of you listening to in the audience today, go out to the restaurants tomorrow. Let them make some money. If they make some money, they'll employ more people. If they'll employ more people will go out on holidays. And if more people go out on holidays, hey, my buses will be full. Go out.
Nitin bhai, that's a lovely encouragement, and I think that's very true. We all should be very much encouraged, enthusiastic, and letting the economy progress rather than holding the progression back. So as a general population, I think we should all be moving forward, but obviously very, very sensibly in maintaining social distance, hygiene, cleanliness. But that doesn't mean we lock ourselves into the walls of our houses. It means we can go out and enjoy and have a good time, but be very cautious and be sensible about it.
Let me share you, once we got hit by the bus, so to speak.
Yes.
There I was unconscious. What the hell do I do with COVID-19? So various thoughts came along, and the first thought was to put people on furlough. So we created a scheme in the office. So we stayed in touch with the staff, the families, fortnightly calls, WhatsApp groups. In the office, we have a food bank. If anybody gets into difficulties, then they should call us. We had to remember that these are the people that make the business successful, and we cannot let them down. So the desire to be like a family, act like a family, was essential and is still the driving force of our decisions. We are starting in a small way. We had the first buses going out, so from running 60 vehicles a day to running 2 buses a day, that starts today. Is interesting. We found that half the buses are now full. Of the 2 buses were full. So maybe there is a desire for people to come out and see London. London is a beautiful city.
Absolutely.
So that's the first step. We'll explore more as we go along, look at more creative ideas, look at more walking tours, because that's in fresh air, so not susceptible to potential dangers of COVID-19.
Sure. In fact, there is a question that has come up on the chat box, Nitin bhai, The lady asks over here is it possible to book a tour with your bus company by private hire for your bubble member?
Yes, absolutely. And I think private hire is probably a lot easier because then you can control the audience and the behavior much better. So if there's a group of people that can say to each other, yes, you will have a face mask. Yes, you must clean your hands as you go along. Yes, we'll maintain safe distances. Instead of running a bus with 50 seats, practically we'll have 30 passengers maximum allowed on a vehicle at any given time. So I think that'll be a wise thing to do.
Marsha, I hope that answers your question. This was a question asked on the chat box. So yes, private hire of bus touring company like yourself, hiring private coaches or buses from you would be a great way to actually get the business going, the economy going, and also entertainment received for the people who are organizing it.
Absolutely. And I said to Mr. Chancellor, if he's listening to this conversation, why just the restaurants? Why don't you include £10 voucher even for people going on a tour, on an open tour bus tour? So if anybody knows the Chancellor, please give him a ring for me. Tours.
I think it's a great way to incentivize these things so that people are encouraged and they want to do it. Because who doesn't like, let me ask you, who doesn't like a tenner off of something, off their bill? Everybody has been through a hard time and everybody would love that little tenner off. And I think that would just encourage the population to take on more and enjoy that.
Sure. An area that is not my expertise, but I don't know if you guys watched a series on the cruise company and how they were hit by the industry, by the COVID situation. That's a very interesting human story that we should learn from. The story of people on a boat, because a boat is a country by itself. It doesn't have rules of any particular nation doesn't apply to it until the boat gets to a specific country. So how the industry deals with its staff, deals with its customers, is very much in the hands of the people that run the industry. And living in a close proximity of a boat, of a cruise, small cabins, breathing the same air, which is mostly brought in from external source. That's the industry one should look at. But I want you to approach. I want you all of you to have a look at a lot of stuff in a very different way. Do approach COVID-19 as a human story too, as a human experience. How it is affecting, especially the people that work in the industry. How can you support them? So, for example, if it's the if it's the cruise business, where up to 2,000 people are working on a cruise from different countries, all getting different level of wages, doing exactly the same job because they come from different countries. And suddenly they're exposed to the same risk. Did they get the same treatment? Were they looked after in the same way? Same thing with the aircrafts and everything else. I want each one of you as a consumer and as a concerned person to look at the industry and help it get better. Industry is very good, but there are parts of the industry that react to things in a different way, where some of the industry is owned by large equity funds. They react to things in a much more financial way, where there are smaller companies like ourselves, which is run by owners, where our approach is different because we have a closer relationship with our staff, and therefore the approach is different, and what we expect, what the staff expects from us as a family is different. But it has been an incredible experience in learning, in human relationships, and in not being able to predict the future. But I hope you'll all go out on a tour very soon.
Yes. In fact, the chat box messages, I'm soon booking my dad's 85th birthday bus tour coming up very shortly. So you've definitely got one customer here.
Good. Thanks, Mr. Customer.
And I think, you know, more words of this as they spread, people get the idea that they can do such things. I think it's an amazing thing to have a good bus tour and enjoy your anniversary or your birthday or get your friends together in that way. So at least you can have a celebration and enjoy it too.
I think if I may give you a bottom line on this conversation, No one knows whether tomorrow or the next week we're going to be closed down again. We don't know. But the word giving up should not be in the dictionary. And working with your staff as a team, as a family, so that we all come out of this healthier, stronger. Because one thing is for sure, we will come out of this, whether it is March 2021 or March 2022, we will come out of this. So this is a time to be creative. And we are looking at various things that we can do now that you never thought about before. We're looking at expansion into different cities. We're talking about creating Beatles tour on a bus, and lots of other stuff which we can't necessarily talk about currently. It's a time for creativity. It's not a time to give up. It's a time to make things happen and then wait to make it happen. So let's be creative.
That's amazing. That's a very good word of advice. Never give up. Keep being creative. And that is what we need to be doing. Nitin bhai, I have a couple questions that were sent to us earlier on. A couple of them, you have actually addressed them while you were giving your talk, but I may just specifically ask you, where do you see ourselves after 3 months? From now to 3 months in the future, with the current COVID climate, what do you envision?
I think it'll be fair to say that nothing's going to be sorted until there's a cure for COVID. And there are different schools of thought there, whether it'll be in a year's time, or whether it'll be 3 months' time, whether it'll be 6 months' time. But for sure, in 3 months' time, there'll be a better understanding of what COVID is, what it requires for us to do in terms of preventing catching the illness. So I'm hoping there'll be a lot more education. From the government's perspective, I think you're aware that furlough scheme comes to an end in 3 months' time. So it's a question of what level of comfort that we have to go out with the 220 staff, with less staff, etc. My gut feeling is that it'll be a slow start, because we just won't be able to have the capacity. So we won't be able to have 50 people on the bus. We won't be able to have restaurants with 200 covers. It'll have to be half. So if you have got half the number of people that you can deal with, you can only create an expenditure level that goes to a certain way. So we'll have to have the presence on the street. There have to be buses, restaurants, theaters. We'll have to open to say to the human race that we are here. The world hasn't collapsed. But we have to be wise. We have to be careful about how we utilize things. How do we get the wisdom but not the fear? And that's the difficult part. At the moment it's fear, not the wisdom. In 3 months' time, hopefully the fear will be replaced not by stupidity or by arrogance, but by wisdom, to say this is the right way of dealing with a restaurant, or this is what you should expect when you get on a bus. And there is the new life. Whether in 2021 we'll be all going out on the street or on a train or in a public transport all the time with face mask, I think that's a very strong possibility. But then why not? I mean, every time I get a Japanese customer, even 7 years ago, Japanese customer 7 years ago, traveling anywhere in the world, always had a face mask on. Because he was told, she was told, when you leave your clean country, you don't quite know what you're going to get elsewhere. Wear a face mask. Maybe that is the future. But if that's the future, let's embrace it. Let's not worry about it. Let's not fear it. Human beings actually have the capacity to survive. Nothing will survive. So in 3 months' time, do I see things coming back? No. Do I see things starting? Yes. I see things starting in a very, very sensible way, very intelligent way. So it'll be a new way of life. Do I see things coming back to golden tours the way we were 2 years ago, 3 months ago? Yes, but probably September 2021. Until then, enjoy the ride. Don't be fearful. Be wise. And don't
Thank you. That's a very optimistic outlook, Nitin bhai. I would love to address one more question that has come on the chat box, and the person says, from a tourism perspective, Londoners generally don't enjoy London as much as they should.
Good.
Do you have any plans on targeting the local communities to enjoy the city whilst in this situation?
How interesting. Very, very, very intelligent question. Question for you. London is the 4th most visited city in the world. Why? Because it's a beautiful city, great history. The nicest city probably in the world, to walk in. You could walk for 4 miles, see things that you'd never see in a car or in a bus. Yes, we are targeting the domestic market. Yes, we are looking at the ethnic domestic market as well. And I said to my Indian brothers, sisters, why aren't you out there? Why are you not in the park and having a picnic? Trust me, if you go to the park now, it is busy. It is fairly safe as long as you maintain the rules. Go out. There's lots of walking areas, lots of walking tours that you can do. London is the most beautiful city in the world. If I was the Prime Minister of this country, I'll tell you what I would do. I would close all the airline industry and say nobody comes into this country for 6 months in a year, summer. Let the British people enjoy Britain, London. It is beautiful. Don't go on holidays overseas except in the winter. Enjoy London. It's the most beautiful city in the world. Explore. Walking is the best way to explore. So many parks, so many things to do. My wife and I are out most weekends discovering different parts of London, Holland Park, Kensington. The walk from London Eye to the Tower, beautiful on the embankment. Go and enjoy. Feel free. Be wise.
Absolutely. You know, you say walking is the best way to explore a city, but particularly a city like London. Walking then also gives you the best form of exercise that should be for a healthy body. So that's recommended. Earlier, we had a speaker who was recommending 30 minutes of exercises 5 days a week. Now, if one can just explore walking 30 minutes a day, come on, that's all enjoyment and all exercise being done at the same time. So you kill two birds with one stone. Nitin bhai, you've given us some amazing information. Thank you very much. We'd love to hear some last few words from yourself. If you were to give us top 3 tips today from your section, what would you share with us?
I think, well, whether you mean top 3 things to do in London.
Top 3 tips of your business through the COVID, through how you're going to face this challenge and move on. What would you share with us?
Humanity, respectfulness. Never forget who made you. So, and sure, you have to keep the business alive. You've got to make sure there's enough wealth in the business for the next 2 years. You'll need the money. That's number 1. Number 2, you'll need the people. Be close to them. Communicate with them. Make sure they understand what the issues are. And trust me, they do understand. And trust me, they'll support you. I've got staff saying to me, they don't want to be paid. They're happy to be paid 1 day a week just to be involved in the business. Human beings are as respectful to you as you are to them. In all this thing, the last thing is it's an opportunity to be creative. So be creative. You won't get a chance like this again. I hope not anyway. Wish you well.
Thank you very much. Humanity, communication, and be creative. Those are the 3 top tips you're going to share with the audience today. Nitin bhai, thank you for your valuable time that you've spent with us. It's amazing and always a pleasure to talk to you, to introduce you. You've got some amazing tips that you do always share. So once again, from the Healing Our Earth, a global namaste and a thank you to you, and a very happy birthday, and have a lovely time with whatever you're doing, your family, your wife, and have a special celebration.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Lovely. That was a lovely conversation with Mr. Nitin Palan, who is the MBE in the United Kingdom. Lovely information that he has shared with us. And once again, a big thank you for being a big support for Healing Our Earth community.